Ibrahim Traoré stood firm in the heart of Africa, his eyes burning with quiet strength. The world's richest power, the United States, had just tried to push their way deeper into the continent. But Traoré blocked them, cold and clear. No more access, no more control. In a secret meeting, U.S. officials demanded open doors. But Traoré's answer was a thunderclap. Africa decides its own future. The room fell silent, tension crackling like electricity in the air. No one expected such courage. The smell of strong coffee filled the room, sharp and bitter, matching the mood. Traoré's voice was steady, but inside a storm raged. Fear for his people, hope for change. His stand was not just politics. It was a battle for dignity. Outside, the streets whispered rumors of revolution. Families held their breath. Would this bloc bring peace or fire? Far away, Donald Trump sat speechless. Usually loud and brash, he had no words for Traoré's bold move. The silence was louder than any insult. What happens when a leader dares to say no to the world's mightiest? The answer is just beginning. The news hit like a thunderbolt. Traoré had sealed the gates against U.S. influence. Across Africa, hearts raced, some with pride, others with fear. The powerful don't like being blocked. Traoré walked through dusty streets, feeling the weight of every eye watching him. Mothers whispered prayers, children stared with wide eyes, and elders nodded with quiet approval. He wasn't just a leader, he was a symbol. But behind his calm, Traoré felt a cold chill. The world's biggest military machine was angry now, and anger could be dangerous. At night, the distant hum of planes overhead was a reminder. This fight was not over. Suddenly a strange sound, a faint tapping on the window of his office. A small bird, trembling, fluttered against the glass, desperate to get in. It was as if even nature sensed the tension. In Washington, Trump's advisors scrambled. No one knew how to respond. The usual threats didn't work. Traoré's decision was more than politics. It was a challenge to old power. Could one man's courage change the fate of millions? The question lingered like a heavy fog. Inside his quiet home, Traoré sat alone, hands trembling just slightly. The day's heat pressed against the windows, thick and heavy. Outside, children laughed and played, unaware of the storm brewing beyond their village. His phone buzzed, messages from allies and warnings from strangers. Some begged him to step back, others praised his bravery. The weight of a continent's hope rested on his shoulders. A sudden knock startled him. His trusted aide entered with news. They're planning sanctions. The U.S. wants to cripple us. Traoré's heart sank. The fear was real, but so was his resolve. We will not bow, he said quietly. Africa will stand united. But then, a shift. A single tear traced down his cheek, a rare crack in his armor. Not from weakness, but from the immense burden of responsibility. He was not just fighting for land or power. He was fighting for the future of every child who deserved freedom. Outside, thunder rolled. The sky darkened, as if nature itself mourned and challenged the uncertain days ahead. Could this storm break him or make him stronger? The answer waited in the silence. The world was watching now. News channels blared Traoré's name, some with respect, others with anger. But inside Africa, something deeper was stirring, a quiet pride that had been buried for decades. In a crowded market, a woman touched a faded photo of her grandfather, a freedom fighter from long ago. Tears filled her eyes. Traoré was fighting the same fight, but this time with a new hope. She whispered, "Maybe, just maybe, this time it will be different." Meanwhile, Traoré met with his closest advisors. Maps and plans lay scattered on the table. The U.S. threat of sanctions was real. Supplies could be cut off, money frozen. But Traoré's voice cut through the fear. We will find a way. We always do. Suddenly, a sharp knock on the door startled them all. A messenger from a neighboring country arrived, breathless. They want to meet, secretly. This was unexpected. The enemy offering talks. Suspicion filled the room, but Traoré's eyes flickered with cautious hope. Could this be a chance for peace, or a trap? Outside, the smell of burning wood drifted through the air, mixing with the tension. The battle lines were drawn, but a new chapter was about to begin. Traoré entered the secret meeting with a steady heart but restless mind. The room was cold, the air thick with distrust. Across the table sat the envoy from the U.S., a man known for hard deals and harder threats. The envoy spoke calmly. "Mr. Traoré, your actions are dangerous. Africa's prosperity depends on cooperation, not confrontation." Traoré's reply was quiet but firm. Africa's prosperity depends on respect and freedom, not control. Suddenly, the envoy's voice softened. For a brief moment, a flicker of vulnerability passed across his face. "You don't understand the costs. Your people could suffer." Traoré leaned forward. "I do understand. That is why I stand here, to protect them." Outside, rain began to fall, cold drops tapping on the window like urgent fingers. The sound broke the silence, reminding them all of the fragile moment. Then, an unexpected offer. "We could work together, if you agree to open dialogue." Traoré hesitated. Was this the opening they had hoped for, or a cunning trap? His heartbeat thundered. The future of a continent hung on his answer. Back in his office, Traoré stared out at the rain-soaked streets. His mind raced. Could he trust the offer, or was it a mask hiding deeper threats? A soft knock interrupted his thoughts. His aide stepped in quietly, holding a worn letter, news from the front line. The letter spoke of families struggling as supplies slowed. The cost of resistance was real. Traoré clenched his fists, the pain sharp but clear. He knew the stakes. Every decision risked lives. But then a sudden warmth filled the room. His phone buzzed, a message from a young activist in a distant village. "We stand with you. Together we are stronger." Tears welled up again, but this time they carried hope, not fear. Suddenly his phone screen flickered, an unknown number calling. He answered cautiously. A whispered voice spoke. "Be careful. Not everyone wants peace." The line went dead. Traoré's breath caught. The real battle was just beginning. Who could he trust in a world full of shadows? The message from the unknown caller haunted Traoré. Who was warning him? Friend or foe? The question burned in his mind, clouding every thought. That night the air was thick and heavy. A faint scent of smoke drifted through the open window, a reminder that danger lurked closer than he wanted to admit. Outside, distant drums echoed, a heartbeat of unrest spreading quietly. Traoré gathered his inner circle. "We must prepare," he said, eyes steely. "This fight is bigger than us now." Suddenly, a junior officer burst in, breathless. "Sir, there's movement near the border. Unmarked vehicles." Fear rippled through the room. Traoré's calm mask cracked for a moment. He knew what this meant. Shadow forces testing their defenses. But then, unexpectedly, a young soldier stood tall. "We won't back down," she said, voice steady. Her courage ignited something inside Traoré. He nodded, a surge of pride replacing doubt. "Then we fight. Not just with weapons, but with our will." The night stretched long. Thunder rumbled. Outside, the wind whispered secrets no one dared speak aloud. Could courage alone protect a nation facing the storm? The next morning, news spread fast. Traoré's forces had stopped the unmarked vehicles before they crossed the border. The people cheered quietly, but the victory felt fragile, like a candle flickering in a storm. Traoré walked through a village, hands shaking but face determined. A child offered him a small, worn flag. "For you, sir," the child said softly. He accepted it, heart pounding. This wasn't just a battle for power. It was for the dreams of every child who deserved safety. Suddenly his phone buzzed, a live broadcast from Washington. Trump was speaking, eyes cold and furious. "Traoré is a threat to peace. We will respond." The words stung like a slap, but Traoré remained silent, absorbing the weight of the threat. Then a twist. A quiet voice from his team. "Sir, some diplomats want to meet again, but this time publicly." Traoré's brow furrowed. Could this be a genuine chance for dialogue, or a distraction from deeper schemes? The smell of dust and sweat filled the air as the sun beat down, mirroring the burning question: who really wanted peace? The public meeting was tense. Cameras flashed, crowds gathered. Traoré stood tall, the weight of expectations heavier than ever. The U.S. envoy approached, this time with a softer tone. "Let's find a way forward, for the sake of all our people." Traoré looked into the crowd, faces filled with hope, fear, and doubt. He took a deep breath, voice steady but heartfelt. "We want peace, but peace must be built on respect. Africa is not a playground for others' games." Suddenly, a loud crash interrupted. A protest erupted outside. People chanting, waving signs demanding true independence. Traoré's heart raced. The tension exploded like wildfire. Then a young woman stepped forward from the crowd, tears streaming. "We cannot wait for peace to be given, we must take it." Her words struck deep. The room fell silent, the weight of her courage pressing on everyone. Could true freedom come from talks, or only from the courage of the people themselves? The protest outside the meeting hall grew louder, voices rising like a storm. Traoré watched from the window, his heart pounding, not with fear, but with fierce determination. These were not just voices. They were the hopes and anger of millions. Inside, the envoy's calm facade cracked. "This chaos is dangerous," he warned. Traoré's reply was firm. "Dangerous? No. It's truth. The world must listen." Suddenly, a sharp whistle pierced the air. Soldiers moved in, tension snapping like a wire. But Traoré stepped forward, raising his hand. "No violence. We listen first." The crowd outside held its breath. Then, unexpectedly, the envoy nodded. "We will listen." The sound of rain began again, soft and steady, a fragile promise washing over a dry land. But just as hope flickered, a sudden blackout plunged the room into darkness. Phones buzzed, alarms blared. Traoré's voice cut through the chaos. "Stay calm. This is not just a power failure." Fear gripped them all. Was this a warning, or the start of something worse? In the pitch-black room, whispers turned to shouts. Phones lit up faces with ghostly glows, revealing fear and uncertainty. Traoré's hand found the aide's shoulder. "We must move. Now." Outside, chaos erupted. The blackout wasn't random. It was a coordinated strike. Roads blocked, communications cut. But then, a surprising sound. Children singing nearby, voices clear and strong in the dark. The singing was a spark, a reminder of why they fought. Traoré led his team through back exits, heart racing but mind sharp. Every step was a gamble. Suddenly a voice crackled on a hidden radio. "Traoré, they're closing in. You must decide." The choice was cruel. Stand and risk capture, or disappear into the shadows and fight another day. Traoré's eyes shone with fierce resolve. "We fight." As night deepened, Traoré's team vanished into the maze of narrow streets. The cold air bit their skin, but their spirits burned hot. In a safe house, Traoré finally allowed himself a moment of rest. His hands shook, not from fear, but from exhaustion and sorrow. He thought of the children singing, "Hope against despair." Suddenly a soft knock. His aide handed him a small package. Inside, a photo of a smiling family, a message scrawled in a child's handwriting. "Thank you, sir. You give us hope." Tears spilled freely down Traoré's face. The weight of leadership pressed harder than ever, but this simple gift reminded him why he must never give up. Outside, distant thunder rolled, a warning and a promise. Would the storm break them, or make their courage unbreakable? Morning light crept through the cracked window, but Traoré's mind was restless. The storm outside was nothing compared to the one inside his heart. The country was fractured, his people hurting. A sudden knock startled him. His aide entered with urgent news. International media were demanding an exclusive interview. Traoré's voice was steady as he agreed. This was his chance to speak directly to the world. In the studio, bright lights buzzed, cameras rolling. Traoré sat tall, eyes fierce but weary. He spoke of sovereignty, of hope, and the right to protect his people. Suddenly, a reporter pressed him hard, trying to shake his resolve. "Are you willing to risk everything for this blockade?" Traoré's voice softened for a moment. "Sometimes, the greatest risk is not standing up." Behind the cameras, a faint scent of jasmine drifted, a reminder of peace, fragile yet real. Outside, viewers around the world held their breath. Could this man's words change minds, or only deepen divides? The interview aired worldwide. Messages poured in. Support and criticism tangled together like storm clouds. But in Africa, a new energy ignited. Young activists flooded the streets, not with violence but with songs of freedom. Traoré felt a surge of hope, but also the crushing weight of responsibility. Then, a late-night call shattered the fragile calm. It was the envoy again, softer this time. "We want to negotiate for real." The offer shocked everyone. Could this be the breakthrough, or another deception? Traoré stared out at the city lights, heart torn. Trust was a fragile thread, easily broken. In that moment, a child's laughter echoed nearby, clear and innocent. It reminded him what was at stake. Would he take the risk and trust, or protect his people by standing firm? Traoré chose to meet, but on his own terms. The room was quiet, tension thick as fog. The envoy arrived, eyes searching for weakness, but Traoré's gaze was steel. The talks were long and difficult, each word weighed heavily. But then, a breakthrough, a shared goal to improve lives without control. Suddenly the envoy admitted something unexpected. "We underestimated your strength." Traoré allowed himself a rare smile. It wasn't victory yet, but it was hope. Outside, the smell of fresh rain filled the air, washing away some of the bitterness. But as they shook hands, Traoré sensed the true test was still ahead. Would old powers accept this new Africa, or try to crush it? The world held its breath. Traoré's cautious handshake with the envoy was a fragile bridge over years of distrust. Cameras flashed, capturing a moment full of promise and danger. Back home, people gathered around radios and phones. Some wept with relief. Others watched warily, memories of betrayal fresh. Traoré knew the fight was far from over. His people deserved more than empty words. That night, as silence settled, a soft breeze carried the scent of earth after rain, a quiet hope. But in the shadows, unseen eyes watched, waiting for a chance to strike. Days passed. Small victories began to bloom, new schools, clean water projects, and roads built by African hands. Traoré walked among his people, their smiles a balm for his weary soul. Yet a lingering question haunted him. Could lasting peace survive the powerful forces resisting change? One evening, a trusted messenger arrived, breathless. "Sir, signs show covert plans to sabotage the progress." Traoré's heart clenched. The battle was no longer just open, it was hidden, dangerous. He looked out into the horizon, the sun setting blood red. Africa's future was on a knife's edge. In a final powerful speech broadcast across the continent, Traoré stood before thousands. His voice, steady but filled with emotion, reached every ear. Africa's strength lies not in submission, but in unity. We will face every storm together. Tears flowed freely, joy, sorrow, and fierce hope entwined. As the sun rose the next day, Africa breathed a new breath, a promise of freedom, hard-won and fiercely protected. The question remained: would the world finally see an Africa that chooses its own path? Thank you for following this journey. If Traoré's courage moved you, please like, comment your thoughts, and subscribe. Together, let's stand for stories that matter. Your voice can help spread hope.